Hello, Isabella Grace here again for Hunting the Silver Lining, trying to find the good in this sense of this world. Um, and I just wanted to say one quick thing. Ginger for the win, okay? Like, yay! Um, and so here's the message, real quick. Do not take advice from people on a particular subject who, in that particular subject, are not clearly, observably doing better than you in that subject. And so this subject came up about weight, diet, nutrition, and maintaining after a certain age with a family member of mine, a very opinionated one. Must be related because runs in a family. But it also comes up with a lot of times it's sort of an uncomfortable subject. But what happens is people start expressing their opinions. I don't bring it up because I just feel like, hey, I don't want anybody messing with me, and I'm doing the best I can, and I don't want to mess with anyone else. That's my take on it, unless, people start asking me, and even then I'm reluctant because there's really so many things to it, and it is a very unique and individual journey. Throughout the course of a woman's life, how do you maintain your health and your feeling good in your own skin? But someone brought this up to me repeatedly, and I kind of let's say like a lot of times, like more than half a dozen, and because we're getting sun together, and just whatever, I guess they felt a certain way and they wanted to like bring it up. And so I always rebuffed and tried to get out of it because I was just like, oh, this isn't gonna go, this is just isn't a subject I'm comfortable discussing with anyone really, but especially not women, because it's just, we live in a society where it's just we're so harshly judged for our looks that the last thing I want to do is say to someone, oh, well, you shouldn't be doing A, B, and C because D and F is going to occur. So, so, right. So if someone's not, looking fitter than me, we'll say, and they try to give me advice about how to be fitter, I'll respectfully listen to them, and I'll be like, oh, like, I'm glad you found something that you love. If it's a particular exercise, if they're like, oh my God, I love such and such so much. And, but then I see, maybe we're eating together and I see the way they eat. And then they might be like, oh, you just don't eat anything. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I just don't, I'm just not eating that particular thing. Like at all ever. So, like, how do we have this conversation when we're trying not to have it, but they keep trying to have it with us? Okay. So, don't take advice from these people who, if they're not making more money than you in a really awesome kind of good way, like don't listen to their money advice. And if they're not fitter than you, don't take fitness advice and nutrition advice from them. And if you can tell that when you're eating together that they're not eating healthier than you, don't take nutrition advice from them. And I'll take these off because of the reflection. So that's it. That's all I really wanted to share, because I am in this like rapid learning slash relearning slash upgrading old things I've learned and learning them in a deeper way, and being like more concise and precise about what I'm learning from it in a lot of different subjects. And that's why I started this, because I was just hunting the silver lining and trying to figure out like how to make good of the madness of life, right? And yeah, that's a big one. I have, I try to be very loving and open, and I'm really not a judgmental person. I mean, I'm super opinionated, but I manage to, for whatever reasons, completely separate that from judgment. Energetically, like, people can tell I'm not judging them, so they just like tell me things, and I'm like, yeah, cool, like, great, like, whatever works for you, or like, hey, if you're into it, cool, you're not hurting anybody, great. But I keep certain people, I feel like if you get like comfortable with certain people and they think they can tell you how to live your life, and so that's what this is about, the subject today. Don't listen to people who insistently tell you what kind of exercise is the kind to be doing at your age, or what kind of food you should be eating at your age. And first of all, they don't look healthier than you, observably, demonstrably, distinctively. And they're not even following all the stuff that they're saying. They're just like telling you something that they were indoctrinated with, and they don't even realize they were indoctrinated with it, and they don't even realize that the whole rest of the room is like cringing slightly when this person who's not the healthiest looking one or the fittest looking one is telling the rest of the room, who's actually maybe on the thinner side than that person, how do you say, in contrast? It's like, so two things really, right? Don't listen to that, and don't let them pressure and bully, especially if it's elders and family members and stuff like that. And also, observe yourself and make sure you're not the one doing that, because I think that I've definitely been that way at certain times in my life. Like, I'm super bossy, just like, duh, that's why I'm doing this, because I gotta have an outlet for it. But I'm aware that, hey, like, everyone doesn't want to hear what I have to say. In fact, no one wants to hear what I have to say. I'm still gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it somewhere where if you don't like it, you just click away, and that's the end of that, and I'm not giving you any trouble, and great, we're all winning, hypothetically. So don't listen to people who are giving you nutrition advice while they're eating like cakes and candies and chips. And don't listen to people that are giving you exercise advice when they constantly complain that they're overweight and they're not where they want to be, but they're trying to dominate your consciousness. It's very strange. But I think that people, I think, we could think it's nefarious, and sometimes it most definitely is, especially with women who are of the ilk of don't really love other women, because I love other women and I love to see them win. So like, I get excited when I see a woman who's like gorgeous and amazing or successful, or she's getting just like amazing princess treatment in a restaurant or somewhere. You're just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Oh, how do I get some of that? And but a lot of women don't see it that way. It triggers their insecurities, and they get jealous and they want to try to tear you down, and so they might want to sabotage you. That's definitely happened to me. But in this particular case that I'm talking about, it's just an opinionated person who probably really cares about me and is comfortable enough to talk unguarded, and that's important. But I think even when we talk unguarded, we should still maintain self-awareness, especially if it's a subject that's come up like, I don't know, 6 to 12 times in a couple of months. It's like, hey, you know what? And then so I tried to tell that person, basically they thought that I was fit for my age and in a bathing suit. I don't know. That's just what they thought. And I'm not going around showing it to anybody. This was just in private at home, getting a little sun in the back. That's it. But I avoided having like a lot of commentary, because I kind of felt like at the beginning there was a little charge to it, like maybe that person was a little uncomfortable, and so I just did everything to make them comfortable, and I didn't really have an opinion. But after literally like the 6th to 10th time of it coming up, I started saying, well, here's what I do this and that, and here's how I eat, and here's what I like, I literally never eat bread, but that started because I'm super allergic to GMO gluten. Like I can't do it. Like I'll die. My gut will bleed. So that saves me from gaining a bunch of weight. And then I noticed that if I eat too much gluten-free stuff, gluten-free specialty goodies, oh yay, I can have a cookie and I can have a cake or whatever, I just get fat. So it's like, it's just, I just don't eat it. I just don't eat bread and cookies and stuff like that, like baked goods, 99% of the time. And then on the holidays, I try to make a way for myself to have those things so I can enjoy holidays by, baking something gluten-free or bringing something along those lines. Sorry, I'm messing with this so much. I'm just getting used to all these wigs. I love it so much. So don't take advice, but also there's this, even when a person is genuinely not ill-intentioned toward you, and they're not of the jealous, want to sabotage you ilk, because they're triggered that they perceive you as being better than them at something, or having something they don't have, or something they want. I still think that a person's unchecked indoctrination about subjects, and also just the underlying insecurities and discomforts that they have that are also like unacknowledged, they can really be toxic. I hate using that term, gosh, but what are you going to say? What else are we going to call it? And I just want to advise people, and I'm saying this for myself. This whole thing is just me talking to myself, but it's also like, hey, maybe this could be useful to someone else. Flesh out a couple of nuances, because this isn't about dealing with an enemy. This is about dealing with people that we know care for us, that we care for, that are kind of putting their stuff on us, and don't take their advice. But you have to go a step further, and this is what I noticed, and I haven't gotten to this step yet, but the next step is also guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life, as Proverbs teaches. So like, also I have to recognize, okay, so this subject's obviously a thing for that person. It's going to keep coming up and we don't agree. And when I gave them a bunch of tips that I normally would never divulge to anyone, that I do to, in whatever shape or form, stem the tide of, gaining way too much weight after a certain age, just because it's, things change, lifestyle, metabolism, etc. And not falling into the, there's nothing I can do about it, because like, I don't agree. Like, set down the cookies and the cake and the cinnamon buns, okay? Like, and then I said to the person, after giving a bunch of tips and stuff, that like supplements and lifestyle things and discipline and diet things or nutrition things that I do or don't do to try to maintain or bring myself, if you gain 10 pounds, then, especially during holidays, then what are you going to do so that you don't carry that through and keep building on it? And they just kind of refuted every single thing I said. And I realized that was just reflexive, because they were probably a little bit uncomfortable with the conversation, but they were the one that brought it up over and over and over again. But when I finally provided solutions, they kind of just rebuffed and reject. Oh no, that I wouldn't do that. Oh, I don't believe in that. Oh, da. And then, okay, well, I'm just saying, look at me. You're the one who's saying you think that I'm doing all right. So here's what I do. And so you have to guard yourself, because what happened to me is that I went from being like humble, confident, and slightly cocky on a good day in my body, to feeling like really conscious, like all I want to wear is big baggy stuff, which I kind of like big baggy flowy stuff anyway. I'm into being very conservative as heck at the moment. I love it so much. It's just better for me. It's where I'm at. I'm not here to like show off or like cannibalize the young, steal all their men. Kidding. I'm just kidding, but wouldn't be hard. Because them little youngins don't know what they're doing. Anyhow, sorry, I have to be irreverent and irresponsible every now and then, or I just don't feel like I'm being real. But don't listen to people who are giving you nutrition advice when their tummy sticks out way more than yours. Don't listen to people giving you exercise advice who can't do as much exercise as you without huffing and puffing and complaining about achy joints and such and such. Don't listen to skincare advice from people whose skin just doesn't look better than yours. Makeup advice, you know what I'm saying? Money, all of that. But also, so you can just rebuff that if it's a one-off, a stranger somewhere, or one of those little frenemies at work or school or whatever, whatever. But it could be slightly discomforting because you got to run into them. But like when it's someone close to you, I realized it had an insidious effect on me. And I know the person didn't mean it that way, but it's like if you're empathic, such as myself, that stuff sort of infiltrates into their insecurities. I don't know why, but it's catching. It's contagious emotion. Human gut felt human emotion is contagious. You feel it. And so if someone's really worked up an insecurity and then they see you and that they think that you're maybe doing better than them, well, maybe because I'm doing some different things and I'm sharing them with you and you're rebuffing me. But then it becomes this weird thing where I have to defend the fact that my tummy's flatter. It's like so strange. So what I also want to add to this is that not only do you not take advice from these people, but you kind of have to keep your guard up. And I realized the mistake that I that I made was that I kept trying to engage and educate and share and divulge like my little secrets. Like, oh, I take digestive enzymes before I have a bunch of carbs, and oh, I take this and that for digestion after at the end of the day, and which I think makes a big help. And then I wear a waist belt whenever I can, and I think that helps with the shape. It's not gonna make you lose weight, but it just helps. I feel like it helps. And I started it because I had lower back issues years ago, and noticed my tummy was flatter, so I stuck with it and I shared that. And normally I wouldn't tell anyone that because I feel like really self-conscious that like I don't want them to know I'm trying because it makes me feel weird, like they're gonna stare and judge and quantify like, oh well, how does that look? So but I noticed that the more that I engaged, the weirder it got. So I'm gonna say not only don't listen to their advice, but don't get wrapped up in the trap. And it's especially difficult when it's someone you love, it's someone you're related to, it's someone who might be catty or whatever in a moment because they're a human and they're not perfect. No one's perfect, but that they don't wish you bad, you know. But their insecurities somehow infiltrate your psyche, and you've got to watch out for that. So don't take advice from those people, but if you try to sort of help them a little bit, because you can see clearly there's a couple of things that would be easy for them to implement that might help them get closer to the goal that they themselves have brought up repeatedly to you, in comparison to their perception that maybe you're doing a little better at that than them, and they don't listen, just like stop giving advice. That's hard because here I am talking about advice, but I'm saying I got myself a bit uncomfortable because I kept on trying to get through to the person, and that conversation carried on over like 2 or 3 more visits, and then now I know I just have to stop that. So I just want to say, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. From Proverbs, very good advice. But it's not just against these evil, demonic enemies, and it's not always against all these awful women who just literally hate any other woman who looks better than dog poop. They're just mad about it. Like, hey, babe, you can change that. I'm a firm believer. There is no such thing as an ugly woman, only a lazy one. Okay, I love that old saying, but the truth is it's also money. Time, effort, energy, right? So like I set my alarm and I purposefully get up 2 hours earlier because I'm slow in the morning and I want to do my makeup. I want to do something with my hair. I want to put on lashes, or I want to do skincare. And before I go and do all the work or whatever it is that I have to do that day. And if you don't want to do that because you think it's better to stay in bed and watch Netflix and eat, cake and candies and cookies and ice cream bowls and all, then sleep till the last minute and then rush out the door, maybe not looking as good as you felt you could have looked, then maybe redesign, because that's what happened to me. I redesigned because I was embarrassed a few times, like having to run out the door, not looking how I wanted to look. And I realized, well, I could have done better than that if I had gotten up earlier. And I was like, oh, there's no way. I was so tired. And it was like, well, what was I doing that night? And I was, in bed watching too much movies and TV, and there you go. And being lazy and thinking that you can just have snacks and veg out every day. You can, but not and look your best and feel your best and be as productive as you want to be in your presentation of yourself. So those are just some thoughts that I had that were sort of on my mind, and I wasn't sure I wanted to bring it up because I in my gut I feel uncomfortable talking about this because it's such a sensitive subject, and it's a never-ending subject, isn't it? Because we're not gonna, like, the pressure to look a certain type of way isn't gonna change, and our body is constantly changing. So there's no just one size fits all, or once you figure it out, you're good for life. It's like, no, you're gonna have to figure it out again and again and again, because you change, because the nutritional options on offer change, and and it's just life, and I think that's okay. I think staying engaged is good for us. But if someone starts to give you advice that isn't, you've already been there and done that, and that's not what you're going to be doing, and you try to demur and they just don't listen, let's find a nice way to get out. It's like, I would just say, so let me provide some solutions, right? Because we can't just rant without providing solutions. So I would say, I'm so glad that works for you. I'm so glad you found something that you love. And then if they say, oh, I wish I could lose 20 pounds. It's so hard to lose the 20 pounds when you're older. But then, like, they're literally, no joke, no lie, have like a tray of cinnamon buns in their kitchen. And it's like, babe, There ain't no tray of cinnamon buns up in my kitchen. Never ever. Ain't never gonna be unless my nieces and nephews come over and I just bought it just for them and I'm gonna make them eat it, and whatever leftovers I'm gonna make them take it home. Because I might lose my mind after have a little drinky drink at the end of the night and think that I have to have them all. So I know that about myself, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. And I think people don't want to be accountable to themselves. They don't want to be accountable to the discipline required to have the goals that they want for themselves. Not even the goals that other people are placing upon them, but the goals that they want for themselves. So I brought that up to this person who I love and I know loves me. And I said, hey, you know what's really about discipline? I mean, ultimately, if I only had one thing to say, I would say it's about discipline. It's about making a decision about what you want and then having the discipline to go for that. And then when you fall off, get back on, like another video, which applies to everything. You fall off, get back on. So you eat something you're not supposed to eat, you gain a little extra weight during the holidays or the birthday or a trip or just during a time of stress. It's gonna happen. That's okay. Go back to the things you know work and slowly whittle and wean yourself off of those extra things you were eating, because I guarantee there's no, like, y'all are lying who say, oh, I don't eat anything, but I just can't lose this 500 pounds. Girl, you lying. You're lying to yourself. You ain't lying to us. We know you're eating junk food, because there's no way. I'm 50. No, almost. And no. And I've gone through it. Like, yeah, it does get harder and you do have to be a lot more disciplined. That's why I bring up discipline. But it's doable. You just literally cannot eat junk food at all. And if you eat a little bit, then you got to make up for that by giving all kinds of extra support to your digestion and making sure you're having like ginger and turmeric and cinnamon and digestive enzymes and all these things that are going to help your digestion and increase your metabolism and help you get through that, so that, yeah, maybe gain 2 to 5 pounds, but you'll quickly, within a month, if you're reasonable, without even being crazy, you can fix that, right? But if it gets to 20 pounds, then you just have to say to yourself, hey, this is going to take time, because that was me. It does take time, like a lot of time. But people giving advice who don't like the way they are, and then telling the person who looks the way they want to look that they should take the advice of the person who doesn't look as healthy or fit. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Now, normally I would be like, oh, this woman's evil. She just wants to destroy me. But it's not. It's actually not that. Humans are a little bit more complex than that, aren't they? Aren't we? And so don't listen to that. But we have to guard ourselves. And so I think that maybe we shouldn't have these conversations, or maybe before we even begin these conversations, we should preface them with, well, hey, I probably do some things that are different, but I don't know if you'd be interested, and maybe get them to agree that they want to hear that, and then be very careful with your information in terms of don't overwhelm them. I think I maybe gave too many tips. It was like 1 and 2 or 3 and then 4, 5, 6, and I might have overdone it. Can you imagine me overdoing talking and opinions and details? So even when they love you, don't let their consciousness infiltrate yours. If you know that you are further along the road on your own path in that particular subject than they are for themselves in that particular subject. Now, that person's doing way better than me in other ways. So this isn't a better person, worse person. It's just about the little lanes and the little lanes in the way that we experience them. And I think this is particularly unique to women because of the pressures that we have to aesthetically represent ourselves a certain way indefinitely, which as much as I want to like harp on that, actually I like feeling pretty, and when I put the work in, I feel so much better about myself, even if literally, like, today I was working home alone all day doing taxes and stuff, and no one sees me. But I was like, I'm not gonna schlep around and feel like a slob. I'm gonna do my little thing, and then maybe if I have some opinions that could hypothetically be useful to hunting the silver lining, I'll come here. So don't take advice from people who aren't doing better than you in that particular subject of advice. And also, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. And some people are going to give you bad advice on purpose because they literally are evil. like they're straight up evil, like Mean Girls, they want you to eat the fat, drink the fat shake or whatever. But some people, it's just because they're so painfully insecure by how you present in contrast to them, that they can actually, that poison, they're so desperate to get that awful feeling outside of themselves that somehow it can get into you. So really be careful about that. And I would just try to change the subject, I guess, if they weren't receptive. Like, oh wow, okay, I'm gonna try that. One thing sounds really good. Like nothing that I said that person wanted to try. Like zero. And a lot of it they just straight up refuted. And I was like, well, next time I put on my thong, I don't want to hear no complaints and comparisons. But yeah, it's a funny world. I like being loving and generous and helpful, but unfortunately, you also have to be a little bit vicious in your boundaries, even when it's friends and family and people that you love and people that don't mean you any harm, but because they're hurting, they're kind of unconsciously putting that off on you. We have to watch ourselves. We have to watch out, man, women. We got to watch ourselves out for so many things. I feel like it just never ends, but that's how we're going to evolve and we're going to be better. And if you want to be happy, you got to jump in the game. And I have this one strand of hair just driving me. Thanks. If you want to be happy, if you want to be happy, you have to put the work in. You have to be disciplined. And you also have to guard yourself against the bad advice of people who may be, well-intentioned. And you have to do your own experimenting with your own body and your own style and your own willingness or degree of discipline that you're willing to have for yourself. And that's going to change. That's changed for me. Like I used to be like 5-10 miles a day hiking and cardio. And now I'm like at 0. No, not doing that. So that's when I learned, well, I cannot eat the same way. Simple. So you have to make a choice. And whereas this other person was like, well, I want to be able to eat what I can eat. And I was like, then you need to be able to be comfortable being 20 pounds heavier. Because you can't have both of those things at the same time. So think about that. And as that, I'm sure that applies to so many things in our lives. We want to have our cake and eat it too. Doesn't that come up? But don't take advice from broke people about money or people less fit and healthy than you who want to tell you how to exercise and eat. And, they're not eating healthy. And, don't do it. And if they start telling you how to dress and what to wear and you're looking at their outfits like, then just say, oh, no, thanks. That's not my style. I guess we'll just end on that note. Well, darling, that's just not my style, but bless your little heart. Okay. I hope this finds you well, and may the universe always conspire lovingly in your favor and also in mine. Okay? Take good care. Bye-bye.